Good morning and welcome to KGUA in Wallala 88.3 FM. I'm your host today, Leanne Lindsay, along with Seve Cardosi. She's going to be talking to us today about a new Northlink directory and concierge service, and we'll get to that in just a moment. We are live on YouTube as well, so if you want to watch us talk about her new website and services, you can do that. Just go to KGUA's channel, and that will be on there afterwards for you to watch as well. And you can also listen in at 88.3 FM and online at kgua.org. And it is Friday, December the 1st,
Wow.
Seve.
It's December.
I can't believe it.
Gee.
It is chilly out there, that's for sure. It's about 45 degrees.
Yeah, it was cold this morning. I had to rage the fire. So I didn't want to leave. I was like, should I do Zoom from home?
Nice and toasty inside. You're like, do I really want to do this show this morning? Yes, we do. And we're going to get into it in just a second. We do always want to do our local announcements before we get into the show. And coming up tomorrow, Saturday, some of our friends, Scott and Tree Mercer, are going to be doing a whale and sealbird watch.
Oh, that's cool.
Right, down at the Wallala Point Regional Park. And it's at the Whale Watch Point, and that's from 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. on Saturday. So that's Scott and Tree Mercer of the Mendonoma Whale and Seal Study, and with retired biologist Doug Purcell, who does a lot of work.
And I think what's really cool about hanging with them, I mean, we go to the lodge or wherever and watch the whales jump, but they know what kind of whales they are, or what kind of seals. So there's so much education that you can learn. So when you're not looking, you just, it's, a black thing jumping out of the water. They know where they're from and where they're going. It's really cool to hang out with them.
Yeah, they know a lot about their flukes, about how much they can spout up into the air. One time I was hanging out with them by the Point Arena Lighthouse, and way out on the horizon, there was some amazing spouts up into the air, and they said those are blue whales.
Oh, wow.
So they do know that. Well, at the Wallala Arts Center, there's a couple of events that are happening from 4 to 6 p.m. today. One is on contemporary fusion. That's with Andrea Allen and Colette Code. And that is going to be, again, at Wallala Arts Center. And then in the Burnett Gallery, Mendonoma Coast Photography Gallery is going to be exhibiting their members' work. And Shindig Social Club up in Sea Ranch is going to have Harrison Goldberg and Dave Jordan today on music.
CD release party. So I believe it's Rhapsody is just getting a lot of acknowledgement. They did a live version of the music and talked about it on K-Tide the other day. And they're going to have the opening here at Shindig. And then you can get people the CDs for Christmas.
And you can even get some things to eat while you're there at Shindig. Yeah. With Melinda and Carl, who'll be serving up a storm and also drinks as well.
Yeah, and my friend Shama makes their cakes. Have you ever tried the cakes there?
I haven't.
Oh my goodness. They're amazing. They're like really amazing.
And this is from a chef.
A chef connoisseur. No.
You are an excellent cook. Okay, so then we have up in Fort Bragg at the beautiful coastal gardens, Mendocino Coastal Botanical Gardens, the Festival of Lights that comes every year.
Oh, cool.
And they just light up all the different plants and the cacti, and it's just amazing. You can go through there and see the twinkling lights.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah, so Saturday, Sunday, and even tonight from 5 to 7 p.m. And it's 5 to 7 p.m. each night, Saturday and Friday. And it, I think, goes on Sunday too. Yes, it does. And then we have the weekly pay and take, both at the Wallala Community Center and at their other location.
Yeah, they have the clothing center now, which is where the old toy store used to be. Right next door, it was the really nice sweater shop. And so they rented out for the clothing section until they build the new community center.
And you are a master shopper.
And I got the text. They got some really good stuff this week. So it's definitely a week to check it out.
I love it. And
And
then,
that's one thing quick too.
okay,
If you're
sure.
decorating for Christmas, because it's that time of year, I went last to the last Band-Aid and they
Oh,
had some great stuff to decorate. And then it's recycled, reused, and some of the things are so beautiful. Like remember the old Dutch? You light the candles and it makes the fans go and the whole thing turns. Almost like the concept of a music box, but no music.
ooh,
So used to see them all over. Like my gram used to travel the world and she would bring back little things. And this looks so familiar. But when I went to Slovong down south, which is like Christmas land, if you've never been, it's all Dutch and really sweet.
big agricultural land down
Yeah.
there too.
And during the Christmas season, it's just all lit up, really beautiful. But they had these intricately carved Christmas candles that would just the heat of the candle would make it turn, and they're so
How
beautiful.
cool is that? I would love
Yeah,
that.
they had one at Painting. I was like, I just have no room. So
Yeah, that's one thing. I have very little room in my space. Um, book signing. There are a couple of book signings. I think there's one today at Four Eyed Frog Books with Jeannie Jackson. I heard it on a show that she did last week
oh,
with Peggy, but I couldn't find it in any of today's news. So you might call Four Eyed Frog Books and ask about that. But there's definitely one up at Maynard and Lou Linden's Linden Design Gallery in the Sea Ranch. And they are going to be doing a whole exhibit on rattles. So,
interesting.
yeah. And the book is about rattles and it's called Hotchet. I hope I spelt that correct or pronounced that correctly, but that's to Saturday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And that's up on Annapolis Road. And then we've got a quilters exhibit at the Dolphin Gallery.
Oh, they're beautiful. I saw some of the quilts they had at the Festival of Trees last weekend. And your mind, it just how much time and effort goes into these.
And
I'm blown
talent.
away.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for what they're selling them for compared to time, which I know because I used to make jewelry that would take me hours and you're selling it for $20, but and they're a higher price point, but it's amazing. Really, really well crafted gifts and art.
I remember a friend of mine when I was working in Silicon Valley, I was helping her husband with his tech company raise venture capital money, but she was always a quilt maker. And we'd go to many of the exhibits that she would pull together. It's amazing the work that goes into these quilts. And that's at the Dolphin Gallery. And that's tomorrow through actually December 31st. Tomorrow, it's going to be from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you might want to contact them for other hours.
Great.
Okay. And then I believe that is going to do it for that list that I have there. Oh, yeah, there's some great, the Coastal Sing is coming up and the Bell Rock Ringer, Ernest Block Bell Ringers. That's what it is. They're both coming up.
They're really good. Yeah, next weekend's a busy weekend too for if you're going to shop for the holidays. I know Point Arena on the 9th has their Makers Market and Craft Fair, and then also on the 10th in Fort Ross.
That's good to remember. And also Coast Highway Art Collective up in Point Arena always has some great selections too.
Lingham's awesome.
Isn't she?
Love it.
So the Bell Ringers are going to be December 9th at 3 p.m. And there are tickets that you need to get in advance, either at Wallala Arts or the Dolphin Gallery. And I know that Tree Mercer has been practicing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, she's
Very
going to be in
cool.
it. And then we have Coast Sing that's going to be at the Point Arena Community Center at St. Paul's. And that's going to be December 16th, 3 p.m. And then the next day, the 17th, it's going to be at the Walla Arts Center at 4 p.m. And then also what's happening up in Anchor Bay today?
Oh, Greek food at Thai Kitchen.
Greek food.
Yeah, I'll be heading that way maybe afterwards.
And it's from 11:30 to 2:30 today. There's
Tina, and she has great the bowls. She can do the bowls, the euro, and they're really lovely.
Oh,
Really
the
good. It's nice to
bowls,
have a change and something different and new, you know.
right? So you could get it on the non bread or in the bowls.
If
That's
the As long as the bread shows up. Here on the coast, you just never know.
I was there one day when it did not show up.
But it should be good too. And that's what I love, you know, about this time of year here on the coast. There's so much going on,
I
and
know.
everybody's like just wide open, and it's just a fun time to be here.
People sometimes in other locations wonder what we do up in this remote location. And there are so many things to do, especially like you said, this time of year. And who would know better than Seve Cardosi, who is my guest today, and yet she is also a host and a volunteer here at KGUA. But you have, over the years, travel has been a big aspect of your life. And in fact, the show that you created for the station, The Drift, is all about travel. And she's traveled around the world, and she knows what it's like for tourists to come into the area or new locals to try to figure out where things are, what's happening, what business services are where. And we have long needed a good directory of services and events, and just a directory of what to do, where to get things done. And if anybody could do it, it would be Seve Cardosi. And she's also, just well plugged into the community. She's just got ties to a lot of different people and both restaurants and a variety of different places that you've become connected to through the station, but also through your
work,
work,
it's like
years living here.
They're your friends, and after time, friends become like family, and you want to see everybody thrive and survive. And because I'm out there and know everybody and care, and just I'm weirdo, I love everybody, how that is. And
she has this magnetic energy.
And so people call me, hey, Seb, where can I get a window washer? Oh, I need a plumber. Oh, I need a contractor. Mine fell through. This happens all the time. So I was like, because the reason I traveled a lot today was a lot of trade work, a lot of website work, a lot of production work and design. And I was like, I do this for a living. I tried to get, years ago, we were with the Business Association here in Gualala. And I was like, why don't we do a website for all the businesses? Because we had Go Local. I don't know if you remember years ago.
That's right. I'm glad you brought that up.
We had the Blue Book for years. Mrs. Teal did, which was such a wonderful service. Everybody paid like $140 a year to be in the book. And it was a listing so you could find who's doing this and who's doing that. And
everybody misses that.
Yeah. In the 2017, I believe she passed. And that was it was supposed to keep going, but it never materialized. And then we had Go Local. Marco did the website for that the year that I was the representative. It was the year before, I think he did the website. And so we kept that going. But then Marco was retired and he moved away. So now that's just it's not that it's a dead site. Some of the businesses are still around, some aren't. It's not when things aren't upkept. You don't know who's there, who's even with Google. And that's the issue with Google, because people are like, oh, I can just Google it. Yeah, but the SEOs have changed, which is search engine optimization. They make it tricky because now they want you to pay. It's all about money, right? And then people that don't have businesses any longer are still showing up because they don't think to take down their businesses off of the Google platform. So you can be so excited and be like, oh, look at that. They're not there anymore.
Right.
And so it's about keeping things current. And especially with the last 2 years, we've had so many people move into the area and move out of the area or just not exist anymore. Businesses have shifted over, changed hands. So it's nice to have something where we're all connected, because like the Beams, I interviewed them on, they did a really great project. They're working on it now called Story of Tomorrow for the Mendonoma Coast. What do we want to see in our community? What would be even greater than it is now? And bringing the community together to manifest this. And they described it perfectly. They said the coast is like a string of pearls. And it really is. Each community is its own little gem. And to have something that connects it all, because if I need somebody to fix my washer machine, chances are there might not be somebody in here in Gualala, but in Timber Cove, there could be somebody, or people that are retired and still want to keep busy and have a craft. They can go on here and they get to choose when they want to work or don't want to work. People call and reach out. Yeah, I'm busy.
I was just going to ask you to describe to listeners, perhaps in other locales around the world who are listening in online, what kind of place are we living in here? So describe our coastal community.
It's kind of like an island without a bridge. I mean, it's we're on connected to all the land, but because it's such an intricate, windy road to come out, it's almost like when I was in Tibet. I was like, oh, no wonder nobody comes out here. It's a haul to get out there. So that's
like going to Hana.
It's kept them protected and safe for all these years from the Chinese, the government, not the people. And then here it's the same, it's such a drive that I remember when I worked at the lodge as a waitress, people be like, oh, I was dying to get here. It's probably the last time I'm ever going to come after that road.
Or people that say, is there another way out of here that is not so windy? No.
Yeah. So it's, it's not for the weak at heart and for those to stay either, because and that's the other reason I wanted to do this website is because during events such as the storms we had where we were kind of secluded and locked off for a little while or didn't have energy for a while or like the fires years ago, people would come here for refuge because right down the street, if you went to San Francisco, they were they were charging people $800 a night for a hotel. Where David and everybody here was like, we are not raising our prices. We're taking in who needs to be taken in.
She's talking about Breakers.
Yeah, Breakers Inn. And then, and the community too. They're like, we'll open our homes. But at the time, we didn't have the community center open. So people that had places for people to stay couldn't link up with those that needed places to stay. So I thought that was another wonderful thing that an encompassing directory for the whole coast could be. So, in times of emergency, and then just like we're reading all the events now, there's still there's still events that we've missed.
It was absolutely
because there's not a cohesive place to put everything or all the calendars. So that was one of the things I did instantly because I would have to Google Sea Ranch Lodge and then try to find which one's the real Sea Ranch Lodge. And then once I got on there, go to, events and then figure out which night Harrison was playing. So it was like, okay, I'm going to have all the calendars together. So if you can click on the lodge, you can click on the theater, you can click, on the community center, the art center, and it'll take you right to their page and show you everything that's going on currently.
This is something I wanted to do long ago with a business I had called Out and About Mendocino, Out and About Media. And we were working on technology that would go out and actually scrape all the content from the different calendars and bring it in automatically.
Right.
And that was just a lot of work.
That's a lot of work.
So,
it's a lot. So that's
you're still in production on this.
Yeah, I've been working on this since January. I passed up a lot of trips this year. That is not a happy girl, but I needed to stay grounded. I felt like but it was just a tough year. I think most people I talked to energetically, this was a hard year to pull all the energies together and get things manifested into fruition. So it's taken me this year. I figured out all the infrastructure and what looks good and what's easier. So it's nice and clean. That was I want it clean and easy so that if you need a plumber, okay, you go to Home and Garden and then you go down and there's your plumbers, very simple. And then there's opportunity for businesses that want a little more visibility, but necessarily can't afford advertising in other mediums because, advertising is not cheap.
No.
So I have opportunity to have ads. And what's cool about the ads is you can click on location and it'll bring up Google Maps, you can click on their social media and it'll take you to their social media. You need to email or go to their website. There's so many links, not just the one link. So,
and we haven't really even mentioned the name of it yet. And
it's North Coast Link. So originally it was going to be Gualala Coast, and then people in Point Arena were like, "Why would I want to be on that? I'm not Gualala Coast." I was like,
or Timber Cove.
Yeah, I was like, SEO. That's how the search engine of it works, But then I was like, oh yeah, it needs to be something that's all inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to redo all, the logos and all the stuff that goes into that.
Yeah, the
branding is a lot of work.
It is.
And so I redid the branding.
But who is better to do it than you? You are creative. You've done so many websites over the year. You've been a photographer, a video producer. You know how to create.
Yeah. But what's so interesting when it's your own, I'm such a judge of myself. Like I can think of you and be like, oh, it comes and it's this energy and it's like, that's it. And when it's mine, I'm like, I question it and double question it. I'm like, is it clean enough? Does it look good enough?
That's why it's always good to get other people's input that you trust and appreciate.
Yes, I do. I have I'm really grateful for some really close friends that have really great taste and an eye for that kind of thing.
Good.
So,
And so you are still in production on it. So if people go to northcoastlink.com,
they're going to see the categories that are available. So this is what differentiates it from other websites. So we have other organizational websites like for different towns, which are great. There's PAMA in Point Arena, the Point Arena Merchants Association. And then, other areas have things like this. Well, we used to have Go Local here, but like I said, that's not upkept anymore. So for people like PAMA or other organizations, I'll give you a discount because I know you did a lot of work on your website. But we can list them. But this one has, what you're looking for specifically in categories, and not just businesses or services. We also have classes and lessons. So like if you want to learn how to speak Italian, maybe there's an Italian teacher out there you didn't know about. Or if I wanted to learn to play guitar, my buddy Keith's up there, and there's other fabulous musicians that can offer their services, that you don't know about because there's not an actual storefront. They teach from their homes, or they can set up and come to your home. So that's what's really fabulous about this is it's not just limiting to, small businesses or what we consider businesses. It goes to classes, lessons. The other thing I put up there too that you can see now is
in fact, I was just going to let everybody know I'm just now sharing on screen to YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, we're now going to share the look of the website, northcoastlink.com, Coastal Business Directory and Concierge site in progress that Seve Cardosi here, my guest today, is creating. She's been working on it all year, and you're getting, close to having this launched. This is something we have so needed for our coastal community, for the visitors here. Mm-hmm. So now people can see what you're building if you're watching on YouTube.
And not all the categories are listed, so that's why it's in progress. They're built out. I had to build out each and every page. So all the infrastructure has been created. And then if you scroll down, you can see, there's different options that we did. So a standard listing is basically your business name, a description, and then a link. Now, if you don't have a website, this is what was really important to me, because I do web design and people ask, oh, how much? And you tell them, well, it starts at 2,500 and goes to, 5K, and their eyes like, we can't afford that.
Intensive.
Especially now when asparagus is, $12 a pound. I get it. So I wanted something that would be accessible, bring our community together, and then not strain the pockets, because everything is costing right now. So I kept everything low cost, but enough to keep it going. So the standard
Great
list,
service
yeah,
for
I
all
think
of our
so.
community. Yeah.
So the standard service, when you click on it, doesn't have to take you to the person's website. If you have a phone number and you just want people to call you, it can go to call you, it can go to your email, it can go to your social media. And then we have, if you wanted a website, but you don't want to spend that kind of money, I'm creating a landing page, which is like a mini website. So if you're a
Nice.
restaurant, you can have your
You see
pictures.
this done all the time. It's very
Yeah,
good.
it can have your pictures, it can have your menu, it can have your hours of operation, who the owners are, and then directions and your social
Great.
media. So they can post, I love foodie pictures. I'm a big fan of foodie pictures. Restaurants post your food pictures.
Yes. Me
So
too. I love that.
yeah, so that's it's basically a web page, but it's through the site though. So it's not your own domain and all of
Right.
that, but you can point your domain to it. So if you bought a $20 domain, you could point it to this. Now that's going to be,
So when people are like searching online and you've given this name out, you putting it on your own marketing materials, it's going to take them
it'll
here.
take them to,
Right.
so I'm housing their website. So you don't have to pay for all the other stuff that's like, I think now website just for the bandwidth, just to house it is like 200 a year. Like when I first started, most of them you paid 200 and you had it for life.
Yeah, no, everybody's gone to subscription services.
And they're super expensive. I told my friend, I was like, yeah, it's 200. And he's like, what? 240 a year? I was like, yeah, but you're renting your house. You'll get that back in, one night rental. So it's worth it if you're bringing in that kind of money. But if you're not, and you have to pay for so many other expenses, something like this is great. So that's going to be $444 a year for basically your own website. And then it connects to, you get a free standard listing. So that will connect when you push the button on the standard listing, it'll take them to your new custom page. We're going to list all events and flyers for classes. Most events, I'm going to start out free because I think it's really important for us to come together, especially, we kind of isolated there for a while. So I just still get so excited when I see everybody out.
I do
So,
too.
and I love the interesting people that have come to the area and what they bring is really lovely. So events and classes, I'll post for free. If you need a flyer created, I can do that for you for very low cost. And that's on there as well. And then the ads, like I said, if you need more visibility, you have the option to take out front page ads or your service page ads. So if you're a plumber and you want an ad, it's going to go on the home and garden page.
So describe that, the list of and breadth of, and kind of how wide the range is.
Oh, that's what was that's why this took a
what
year
you
to
can
build out.
find.
Yeah, that's why this
this
took a year to build out. Because we have there's so many amazing we have venues. This place is huge for weddings. So you're looking at a whole ball game of just caterers, flower, hair, makeup. That's things.
This is a big wedding type, remote coastal community where people love to come because it's redwoods and ocean and rocky beaches, and it's just gorgeous.
And the pictures are amazing when you're done. And after planning my own and having my own wedding and realizing everything that goes into it, I've done them for other people and I have the connection so I can bring them together, but I probably should have hired somebody for mine. I would have definitely hired a coordinator.
Stress. Right.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be your day.
Right.
And fortunately I was able to let go the day of, but that was after, I worked my tail off the day before and was crippled and had to have my friends give me massages and foot rubs. And if it wasn't for my girls, I don't think I'd have made it to my own wedding,
I think you were knocked out for a few months after
too. A month after I was toast. But
it's a wide range of people that, if you're looking to be listed on
there are ballroom dancers out there. We have some really awesome things to participate in the coast. I'm never bored. There's a whole tango group. I tried when I lived in Point Arena. I was part of it. I went to a few of
They're
the
up in Fort
tango.
Bragg too.
They're amazing. It's the
Yeah.
same group. Yep, they're amazing. But it's something you got to dedicate yourself. You just can't show up. It's like, okay, it's a class. And how
Like
do
Tai
you?
Chi.
Yeah, how we have that here too.
We do.
And so the Tai Chi's and the wellness we have Wellness on the Coast, which is a great collective.
Extensive.
Mm-hmm. And then there's so many massage therapists, really, we got acupuncture, really intricate people on the coast that are talented in these areas that you wouldn't know about.
Very specialized.
Yeah. And so that's what's great about, the station is we bring a lot of people and interview them but they're constantly coming in and out. And unless we haven't been out and about to meet a lot of these people, so I think it's a really good time for something that is all inclusive and we can search and see and expand ourselves.
So, number one, if people want to get in touch with you to talk about how to get listed and ask questions about how to portray their business or service or event, how do they do that? And then number two, when can people actually expect to start using this service?
So we are signing people up now, and you can go to pricing and contact on the northcoastlink.com. And on the contact page is all my contact information, and we can
and I can probably stop share now, but it is northcoastlink.com.
Yep. northcoastlink.com. And then what's cool too, I put an area right now that I'm looking for more. Like I just ran into Mr. Navarro and Tara. I don't know if you remember them. For years they were big supporters here, KGUA.
I remember the names.
And I
hear them a lot.
They do the meditation. We used to have the meditation group at the Catholic Church every Friday, which was really great. And then it was moved from there, and I lost touch, and I was like, oh, unless you run into somebody like I just did at Festival of Trees, I wouldn't know where it was. I didn't know where it was, or how to participate anymore. So we have a section for spiritual assemblies.
I
so all the churches are listed, and meditation
about a variety of things that are listed here.
There's so many things that go on here, that it's fabulous. And so
so spiritual services and assembly to things like even horseback riding, kayaking.
All the outdoors will be a recreation area. And then if you scroll down to, I have
events
coastal entertainment.
Oh yes, coastal entertainment.
So now I just love everything local, like it, whether it's books or art. Like when I get gifts for people, I want it local from my town. I don't want to look online and find this little cheap thing from China. I want something that somebody put their energy into.
That's why you were involved with Go Local so much. By the way, if you haven't recognized the voice and you've just tuned in, this is Seve Cardosi who's with me today. I'm Leanne Lindsay, and Seve is a well-known local here. She has traveled all over the world, and she is a graphic designer, video producer, photographer, amazing photographer. And she just has a creative flair, and she has been spending the past year putting together this directory of services and events and all things coastal together, called the North Coast Link. And it's still being built, and you still have time now to get in on the launch of this.
Now I talk about the first come first serve, because there are limited spaces for the ads. So per service page, you don't want to be bombarded with a million different things to go through. And it's not advertising like most things. It's basically just a few of our favorites, and then it'll change. You can
yours is
through.
Tasteful.
Yeah.
It's not in your face bombardment and trying to get through and click all that stuff off to get to where you want to go. Right. No, this is tastefully done. Yeah. Like, think about this, or what if you might be looking for something like this.
Exactly. And to show you, oh, hey, we got this, so those are the ads, and those are limited. And that's on the front page, and each page you'll have that. Coastal entertainment is what I'm really excited about. because we have the radio. So it's, of course, right now it's K-Tide and KGUA. But there's some people out there. We have a section for podcasts. We have a lot of amazing podcasters on the coast that are just sharing their voices, their poetry, their opinions. So,
and I'm creating a couple of podcasts myself. I think you are too.
my
So,
past archives and
yeah.
and so all the podcasts can be found there, because even with me, a lot of people, I want to hear that
I
show
know.
again. I loved that show you did with, the story tomorrow, and how do I find it? I'm like, okay, I got to get it up on SoundCloud, and then it's here. And so they'll all be available on the podcast section. So you
Good.
can scroll through and see what local talent we have, what they have to say, what they're talking about, and be entertained, because music's great. I love music, but sometimes when I'm cleaning the house, I want to hear a story, or I
Yeah.
want to learn something,
Yeah.
So that's
And
great.
people, when you're in your car too, if you're traveling somewhere, I love listening to
Yeah.
podcasts. Coming back from Central California recently, where we'd gone to do a film shoot, I listened to the Journey On podcast with Warwick Schiller all the way back.
Oh,
Because I'm
cool.
really into horses, and my film
Yeah.
is a lot about horses and people. So, people do, it's fun to listen to that. So you've given them a place where they can go find locals
Exactly.
along the Mendocino and Sonoma coasts who are producing podcasts.
Correct.
You can find out about live music,
So that's
dancing,
the other
like
one,
you
the
said.
live music. Hopefully, once that clicks through, it'll click through to all the different calendars that have live music for that month. So like you'll know when things are on. People can send me all their information. I'm trying to get it out the month ahead. So if you send
Right.
it to me by the
Glad you brought that
beginning
up.
of the month, then I can get it all up. But anything last minute, it's harder for me to, depending on where I am. Most of the times, if I'm here and I'm not super busy, I can jump on things last minute, which is how most of the clients work. I need this by tomorrow. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, I'm trying to get, especially events. You want people to know about your events ahead of time. So that's really good to get me your information early. So, yeah, so there's live music, and we have some great bands. And that was one of the sections too, is bands for hire, because people have dinner parties, and there's nothing like, I had Willie's birthday party years back, and Kiki and Twist showed up, and they just hung out and played their music. Archie Cavazu, he'll come to the parties. We had Willie's 50th birthday party, and these are all for hire. Like, these people are amazing. Archie brought his bull. It's a mechanical bull. And so it was so much. I was like, oh, if he's bringing the bull, then we'll have a cowboy party. So we did a cowboy theme. We were
He's
out in the
creative over
redwoods. Oh, it
here.
was so fun. And then when I wasn't I didn't know what to expect. I hadn't seen a mechanical bull except for a few bars around the world and I go to, and I
In
could never
the
get
movie.
on because I always had a
Right.
dress on, and my friends were like, you are not riding that bull in that dress. So I was like, I'm wearing pants this time. I'm ready for the bull. So Archie came and blew up. It was like a whole jumpy house that looked like a corral with the big, wooden arch that had his name on it. It was the coolest thing. I was like, this is awesome. So of course, we had to do the photo shoots and bribe everybody to get up there. So it was really fun. And then he plays music. They just did an article about him in the ICO. And he's been here just traveling the coast and just playing his guitar and just keeps getting better and better. So now he gets hired out at wineries. And so we have a lot of local talent for local events.
And a lot of people who've just moved to, say, the Sea Ranch where I live. And I listen to a lot of people who are asking, how do you find somebody to hire? How do you fix this? And who do you hire to do that? There are just so many questions about where to find things or people or get help.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing
Yeah.
with North Coast Link.
Yeah. And then we'll connect it to all the media outlets. So I'll work trade with any media outlets. That way, if you want a publication, you want to find out, read things that are going on local and what's happening.
Yeah.
Or even like, remember when you're in high school, you want the pictures of the baseball teams or when you got your trophies. And
Right.
so you have the ICO, there's the Lighthouse Peddler, so that's another area we have is the print media.
I bet you other radio stations outside this area and other print media would love to run this information because they travel to this area.
Well,
Right.
that's the thing. I mean, every time I just took my mom to the airport at
She did
Santa
go.
Rosa. Yeah, she was here a month. It was so fun.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Sue. She's just pure comedy, that one. So I took her to the airport, and Schultz Airport is so convenient.
Beautiful now.
They did a really good job. And then they have these huge monitors, and it's like places to go, things to do. And I was like, oh, how nice would it be if I could raise enough money to put the North Coast link on that
exchange.
Because people come up here, they travel up, they arrive at 8:00. You're out of luck. There's no food. I used to feel so
they
bad.
Don't know that till they get here.
I mean, it's later than 8. It's like 8:30.
Yeah, right.
But like people would show up when I worked at the lodge and like, where do I go to get food or that? And I'd be like, I'll sneak you some bread because everywhere's closed, So if people knew that ahead of time, they could prepare and plan ahead. So
it's also funny that you mentioned Charles Schultz Airport in Santa Rosa. How many people live here that don't realize, and they're long timers, and don't realize how many flights go out of Santa Rosa?
It has expanded.
There are direct flights to Seattle, to San Diego, to Phoenix, to lots of other locations.
Changes. I mean, you can't always get like Willie and I. It was his first trip, was this last Christmas. We went to South Carolina, and we were able to leave out of Santa Rosa. His first airplane trip.
First ever?
Ever. Yeah. So
amazing.
It was really exciting.
You're married and you're world traveling.
I know. That's the balance, right?
That's the balance. Absolutely.
So I was so grateful, because to bring somebody that's never like flown to San Francisco or Oakland, it's kind of like, holy cow, what do you do? There's so much going on, It's not Heathrow, but it's still pretty big and crazy. So for us to fly out of Santa Rosa was a dream. It was so easy. You show up early, you get a bite to eat at the restaurant, you're in and out.
It's nice, light, airy, convenient, easy to park, get around.
And that's with American Airlines. So they flew from Dallas, and then from Dallas we could catch a flight. But
direct flights to DFW.
Yeah, to go to LA. I just drive to San Francisco now. Not San Francisco. I drive to Santa Rosa because I was going to San Francisco.
Me too.
And then having to figure out with the car. And cars in San Francisco, I get anxiety because I already had my convertible the roof was slashed. And then
this happened to my husband at the time. He had a convertible.
They slashed my roof one night, and then another time
at SFO.
I was just going to eat at a restaurant there, and within the time we were in there eating they smashed the window of my BMW, grabbed my phone, and this is when I knew San Francisco is just its own beast. I had Find My Phone, and it showed the person was right around the corner. So I get a hold of the cops. I'm like, look, they're right around the corner. They're like, yeah, nothing we can do. I was like,
they are working on that right now. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It is.
So, but
so back to here. We don't have to worry about
that. Great. We don't have to worry.
So that's an option. Right. Yeah. If you're traveling, it's really good. And we have 2 airports here. So that's another thing to get out there, and for people to know they're for private small flights. But we have some locals that they're all getting their license, so maybe that's a future business, or you get the little hop and jump from here to Santa Rosa.
And I had a friend who still to this day runs what is called the FBO in Little River. So she teaches flight school out of there, and she rents cars, she rents bikes, and she does this in Boonville now and in the Sierras.
Awesome.
And she rose up in the ranks to become a commercial pilot. So she's now flying these beautiful King Airs out of Sacramento. Nice. So she started from nothing and she built up this whole
Yeah.
thing. So who knows? Somebody could be doing that up here at the Wallala Airport or the Sea Ranch Airport.
And
I'm not saying they would, but I'm just saying that they
and
maybe would.
it's like anything else here. It's all weather dependent because, if it's a cloudy or foggy day, it's
Always weather dependent here on the
however,
coast.
however, it's a good option to have. So maybe that'll be a future business here. Hint, hint, hint to anyone that flies out there.
But there's such a range of services and events.
Yeah. And then I'm calling
people to connect. This is connection.
Yeah. And I want to call forth any bloggers. So anybody with podcasts, music,
local books
and blogs. So these are the two I really want to bring you in. I want to promote local
Jeannie
artists. Yeah, not Jeannie. There's so many people, that are out there. I remember I was working with a couple different people that did blogs, and they're like, how do you get it out there? I'm like, there's Facebook, but not everybody is on Facebook.
Being centrally located with a bunch of other people really helps.
But if you're local, people want to see what's going, what people have to say. So this is a great opportunity to get all local bloggers out there. If you're an author and have a book, there's a lot of books out there that were written locally that are amazing.
And there are a lot of people, Seve, who do want to support local, and they wonder, how can we do it just besides going to our local groceries or our local gas stations to get service or whatever, what do we do?
Yeah. And I don't want to take any business away from Four-Eyed Frog. So if the book is available at Four-Eyed Frog, we'll put that in there, available at Four-Eyed Frog. And if it's not, and if it's via Amazon or whatever booksellers online or through them personally, then it can connect in that way.
I'm sure there are a lot of even farmers who are creating produce like jams and jellies.
I have an area for that as well. We're also going to be bringing in Miss Donna Bishop. Miss Donna Bishop. Finally, she's got some time to chat, so we'll have her in here. The farmers market has been doing amazing. So it's going to be really exciting to see what they have moving forward. And one of my concerns is because we're not secluded, but we are secluded at the same time,
unless you're a pilot.
One of my things is like, okay, how do we, if this forced inflation just keeps going and going and going, how can we balance that out? Is there a way where we can learn from them to grow different things? Do I get together with you and be like, hey, Leanne, I'll grow the carrots. Can you grow that, And then you trade, like I trade with my friends all the time, like tomatoes and cilantro.
It's a great idea, Seve.
So to be able to become somewhat food sustainable, for just supplemental thing, would help out so much. So that's, that'll be up here. We have CSAs that are great. Oz Farm. You just had, the people, the couple you brought in. I met them at
Oz and Wavelength Farms.
Well, and I met they came to I also do jewelry.
I was going to say there's so many jewelers here too on the coast.
So I did the makers market at Sea Ranch right after Thanksgiving, and I was able to meet them, and I was like, we want to do a farming show too.
We'd love to have a farming show.
And then all KGUA is here. It's on the front page. It's one of the front page ads. So all you have to do to see what's going on, if you're not near radio or the signal doesn't come in strong, or if you're traveling like I do and you want to catch up with what's going on at home, there's a listen live. You just click on it and it takes you right to the listen live page.
That's great.
Yeah, it's nice. So there's a little bit of something for everyone in there.
This is Seve Cardosi, who has been working hard all year long, and before that even, on this northcoastlink.com website. And it's a service and communal location for all things Mendocino and Sonoma Coast, from Point Arena down.
We're going to Elk. We're going to go to Elk Cove. I figured, Timber Cove to Elk Cove.
That's great. Cove to Cove.
Because Elk is it's tiny. It's really, to me, it's worth the little morning trip to go to Queenie's and then hit up the little art collective next door, you know?
Oh, Queenie's. We're going to miss
I
Queenie's.
know.
Yeah, but there's a new one coming in, I
Oh,
understand.
good. I hope so.
But there's
There's a lot of artists.
there's an Elk Cove Inn and Spa there too. They
Mhm.
have a little French restaurant.
I didn't know
Yes,
that.
I had them on. Melissa Boone and her husband, who is a great French chef.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
That's the Michelin star chef, correct?
he is there at the Harbor House. Matthew
Oh,
Kammerer is
okay.
the multi Michelin starred now. But when he first came in here to talk with Peggy and
Mhm.
me one day, they had just started at Harbor House and they had come from Cezanne's in San Francisco.
Right.
But that's really high end food there at
Yeah.
Harbor House. You know,
So
we're
this is
talking.
different than the elk.
Yeah, Elk Cove Inn and Spa is that little resort as you're going. If you're going north, they're on the left hand side. They
Oh,
have
yeah,
their own
yeah.
little cove, and then you have the little grocery store. Sean is one of the owners of that,
Mm.
and and then you've got the new Sacred Rock Resort.
Yeah.
They've become a little foodie outpost there.
Cool.
This little strip of a community on the coast. It's really a tiny strip.
Yeah.
And then Queenie's is being refurbished into a new restaurant.
Great.
And then you've got the Harbor
Right.
House. Yeah.
So that's the stage. I'm glad you brought that up
Yeah.
because even I don't know I don't know. I'm just, there's so much change that's going on.
But
So
get in touch with Seve.
yeah, if you're listening, get in
right?
touch with me. Go to the website, northcoastlink.com. You can spell the words. It's really easy. It's not like blah, blah, blah.
There's always an
I was
issue.
very purposeful, even though because it was hard to come up with the name because we're like,
I know.
we're South Sonoma, or no, we're North Sonoma, but South Mendocino, but
Right.
we're West Coast. So it was like, what? So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do something very simple,
Yeah.
easy to spell.
Mm.
And so people that contact me now can get on. And then what I'm going to start doing is hitting the little towns and going to all the businesses with house calls. That way, if they want to pay, a cash or check, it's super easy. I'll be there and I'll get it done on the spot.
And
So,
you can do digital payments too.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can. I had it all set up through Stripe and
Yeah.
I had
Or Square.
Yeah, I did. Oh, no, I did Stripe.
Uh-huh.
And then I had it set up I opened up a savings account with Bank of America. And that was back in March. Not realizing how much work just the infrastructure actually was. And then by May, they're like, oh, we canceled your savings account because you didn't put any money in it. And I was like, what? Who does that? Because they want to charge now.
Right.
Where it was a free account. So I have to redo all the digital payments and get a new account to fit into that. So
PayPal too, maybe.
we do PayPal.
Yeah.
I'll do Venmo.
Venmo, good.
Yep. And then, I just had like my client, France, a great interior designer. I was like, how did I not meet you? Like, we know all the same people and we met up to talk about the site and what goes into it. And we both of us were like, I just, because she moved here 2 years ago. So that kind of made sense to me because I go out, but if your paths don't cross, it's all synchronous, right? And I was like, well, when it's time, and now it's time. But she took out an ad and she just mailed me a letter and a check and it was done.
Interior design. That's another thing. Oh, that's another skill that she has too. Seve Cardosi is an interior designer too, but that's another service that you could put on here from other people.
Yep.
Interior design. There's so many architecture.
Yep, it's all up there.
People that are building homes, revising homes, redoing places.
Contractors,
painters.
It's tough, and I have one
gardeners,
I have
landscaping.
I have a stonemason. I have to get him because he's just by, phone. He's Mexican. He is a master mason and he did some work on some friend's house. And I was like, oh, we got to get you on the link. And he's like, oh, I'm very busy. I'm busy till September or October. I was like, that's okay. I said, people might have interior jobs, know. So my goal is to get everybody signed up by the end of this month, your time. So it's it's an annual thing, but I'm not starting it till the first of the year. So
And this is just the first day of December, right?
but I'm gonna go live hopefully before Christmas. I want to go live before Christmas so people can utilize it for the holidays.
Right.
But like I said, it was a big bite to chew. I was like, holy moly, what did I get myself into? But I think it'll be worth it because it'll keep us all connected and in the know and in the flow. And I think it'll be a good thing for
I
the
have
community.
deep, mad respect because I know I tried to do this once before a long time ago, like 12 years ago, and when I was living up in Irish Beach. And it's a lot of work, lot of work.
And it won't
you've made a great deal of progress.
Yeah. And it's about the community, so that's why I kept it super inexpensive so everybody can afford it. Breaks down to like $10 in the end a month,
Yeah.
And it's
advertising and
constantly
marketing
gonna be
rates, that's
updated.
good.
And it'll constantly be updated. And then once it's done, their plans are to do more programming here, more local base to get more community. What's the word I want to say?
We're working on keeping this station going. We're working on it.
So and not just that, like you did Out and About.
Yeah.
In Mendocino, and you had little video clips. I did that with Go Local back in the day.
And I went around to, I started out doing local businesses. In fact, Queenie was one of my first. And so were Lou and Maynard Linden when they had Linden Design Gallery here at the Cypress Village. And then another one was the horseback riding up on Manchester State Beach, Ross Ranch.
Oh, I love that. That's really fun.
Then I got into doing roundtables with lodging, wineries, and all different sectors of restaurants. I had a restaurant roundtable once. And so that's another thing that could be possible.
And that's what I love to do is just chat with people, show off what they're doing, take some quick videos. And so once this is on and live, then I'll have the time to do that, to go out in the community and take a quick video and throw it up there, So
well, that's another thing that can come down the road, but lodging, restaurants,
that's up there. All the lodging will be up there. The restaurants. So now with the restaurants, real quick, because I know we're running out of time.
Close.
The restaurants are all open on different days and different times, and it changes often. So that's another good thing about having the link, is to be able to have a schedule. So on Thursday, you don't show up at Cove Azul all excited for their Cobb salad and they're closed. So it'll have the days that the restaurants are open. Good. And so you can kind of plan your trip out without being like, oh my God, they're closed today, So,
well, I really had a lot of fun having you here. I think Seve and I have been volunteers at KGUA for many, many years. And this is the first time we've actually done a show together.
I know. We've done like actual productions and
we've
filming
done video
together,
production together and filming together, but we've never sat down and actually chatted together. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoy it, especially because I enjoy hearing about all you've done to put North Coast Link together. Mm-hmm. We've all missed having that blue book.
Yeah, it was great.
And Go Local was really great there for a long time. You put a lot of effort into that.
Not with the website, but with the marketing and events. I would show up and
but that gave you a good background for doing this. Plus, you're a traveler. You've been a world traveler for a long time.
And I think the traveling part, besides like seeing amazing things, it was my lessons. It was lessons on the ground, like learning how lucky we are really here. I mean, you go outside and then you always realize it's like, oh my gosh, the world is this vast, beautiful place. And where we are is so magical.
Very
so
magical.
How can we continue to thrive and create and be together on the coast with a little more ease and flow? And that's what I think the link will do. And then we want another thing.
And we need each other.
We have 1 minute. We do. I ran into a gentleman at Pay and Take, and he's like, I told him what I was doing because I think he was a painter, and he's like, he goes, I take out ads at the ICO and this and that. He's like, but he goes, I want to know, where can you meet women? I was like, well, maybe we'll have a link up. And we can bring all the singles out.
Why not?
Because, people, nobody goes to bars anymore to hang out, like. there's not a lot of places where you can like have that opportunity to be set up or to talk, and that person's single or whatever. So that might be something in the future too.
Hey, you got lots of room to grow. And
To
if you talk
play.
about somebody that's creative, it's this lady right next to me, Seve Cardosi.
What do they call it? Knower of all, master of none.
And I'm a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening and for watching on YouTube today. You can catch us online at kgua.org. This is KGUA in Wallala, 88.3 FM. And I am